Namaste. This class concentrates on one of the chakras, the energy centers in the body. Today, looking at Anahata, the heart energy center, represented by a green lotus blossom with 12 petals, and the symbol is a star made up of two intersecting triangles, one pointing up, one pointing down, symbolizing the element of air and representing the physical and the spiritual coming together. It's where things meet. It represents togetherness rather than separateness. Come to sitting. Let's sit up nice and straight and tall, but in a comfortable way. And if you would like today, you can place one palm over the heart space and then the other hand over that. So we think of the heart chakra as behind the sternum, in the center of the chest, even though we know that's not biologically, anatomically correct. So closing your eyes, if that's okay for you. Beginning to breathe and settle into the space that you've chosen to practice today. Breathing in and out of the nose, if that's possible for you. And as we breathe, we bring the focus to this heart area, to Anahata Chakra. Anahata means unbroken, infinite, continuous, everlasting. Represents the sound of the universe, the hum of life. Anahata Chakra governs the circulatory and respiratory systems. So an unbalanced Anahata Chakra would result in some issues around the heart, around breathing, and a balanced Anahata Chakra means for somebody that they are compassionate, caring. It's about love, yes, but connected with kindness and compassion, so much more than romantic love. It's about healing and tenderness, and that applies to ourselves as well as to others. The sound associated with this chakra is yum. Saying this to yourself a couple of times. Yum. Feel it resonate around the heart. Yum. And imagine now that the breath, you could breathe it in directly into the heart space and send the exhale out from there. Breathing in energy, transforming Anahata Chakra to be breathed out as loving kindness, sending that out to the world. And we awaken this chakra with bhakti, devotion. Fully devote yourself to your practice, to opening your heart. Taking a lovely deep breath now into Anahata. Exhaling love out from there through the whole body. And changing the cross of your legs or the way that you're sitting if you would like to. We're going to start with the hands in front of the heart, and on an inhale, open them out nice and wide. On the exhale, give yourself a hug. Cross the right arm over the left. Hug the shoulders. And take a bow. Breathing into the back of the body, remembering that these energy centers sit just in front of the spine. And it's important that we think about the back of the body relating to this as well as the front of the body. Inhaling up, open the arms wide. Exhale, hug the shoulders. And take a bow again. Send the breath in through the heart center and out again. Inhale, rising up, opening the arms and bring them back together. The hands come to Anjali Mudra at the heart space. And every time you bring the hands together in front of the heart today, let the thumbs connect with the sternum. Feel that connection with your heart. Let's do our circle of joy. So inhaling here. Exhale, link the fingers, push the palms away around the spine, protecting the heart. Inhale, lifting the palms up to the sky, opening the heart. And exhale, big circle. Let the hands find each other behind the back. Interlace the fingers. Lift the heart forward. You can lift the head or even drop it back if you want to. And exhale, sweeping the hands around the body, bringing the palms together in front and bringing them into the heart space as you exhale. And again, inhale, take the opposite interlace of the fingers. Exhale, rounding the heart, bowing down over the heart. Inhale, lifting up, nice long spine, maybe looking up. Exhale, big circle with the hands and finding the opposite interlace of the fingers behind the back. As you inhale, lift the heart, reach the knuckles back, squeeze the shoulder blades together as you open up Anahata Chakra. And as you exhale, sweep the hands around, bow down over the heart, protecting the heart. Hands come together and bringing the thumbs back to the sternum. Connecting with your heart for a breath here to finish. And then coming to kneeling. If you'd like to have a yoga block or a book, it might be useful for this practice. Just have one in front of the mat, and later on you might want one to the left side of your mat, ready for some of the warrior postures. So come to tabletop pose, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, unless you prefer to be on your forearms. Think about a nice flat back to start with, inhaling there. As you exhale, round the back, drop the head and stay here for a couple of breaths. So this is our cat stretch. And again, we really want to think about opening up the back of Anahata Chakra here, widening as well as lengthening the spine. And then on an inhale, dropping the hips forward, letting the heart lead as that comes up and you raise your head as well. Into cow pose, staying here for a couple of breaths, seeing how this feels, trying to open across the front of the body, smiling collarbones. And then take our more usual cat-cow flow. So rounding the back as we exhale, dropping the head. Inhale, dipping the tummy down, lift the heart, lift the head. Couple more times, flexing the back, thinking about moving around this heart space today. Good, bringing it back to neutral. And we're going to all take Anahatasana, this puppy dog or half down dog pose where we reach the hands forward. We get a lovely long spine, lifting the hips up and back. So not the same as child pose. We've got the hips staying over the knees, but you might want to bring a block underneath the forehead to bring the heart down towards the floor. If you've got a very flexible back, and be cautious because we're just warming up, you might want to bring the block under the chest instead of the forehead and bring the heart down onto the block. Breathing here. Perhaps you can even get the heart space down onto the mat. Melting the heart down with every exhale. Gently walking yourself out of that position and choosing whether to come into Sphinx or Cobra. So you might rest down on forearms like the Sphinx in Egypt, or you might have hands under the shoulders in Cobra pose. We're going to stay here for a few breaths, so if that feels too strong on your lumbar spine, come into a much less of a back bend, crocodile pose, where the head rests down onto the hands. And breathe, whichever posture you've chosen, lifting the heart forward on the inhale, relaxing from the pose a little on the exhale. Roll the little toes down towards the mat. This internally rotates the thighs and might help to get this spaciousness across the lumbar spine. It's the heart doing the work, so we want the upper back to be lifting the body and then relaxing it down. If you want to test whether that's what's really happening, hover the hands off of the floor in cactus pose. And on the inhale, you need to use the back muscles to lift the heart forward and then relax and release it down. So inhale, lifting the heart. You might not come up very high, but when you bring the hands back down to the floor, inhale, you might get a deeper lift and deeper back bend than before. So one more time. This time we're going to all push ourselves back to kneeling, round the back slowly into a cat stretch. And you might want to stay here for a bit longer, or you could ease your hips all the way back towards the heels to come into child pose, releasing and relaxing the head down to the floor or onto a block. And again, breathing in and out of the heart space at the back of the body. I want you to offer yourself kindness and compassion during this practice, just like any other, doing what's right for you. But also, let's make a positive affirmation while we're resting here. If you say things, positive statements, then those thoughts, even if you don't really believe them at the time, they become beliefs by repetition. So I want you to think here, I am enough. I am enough. And then you choose, you come up to kneeling tabletop again, where you can take a few more cat-cows and explore maybe puppy dog, or we'll do downward facing dog together. So hands a little bit in front of the shoulders, pressing into the floor. We tuck the toes under, inhale, exhale to lift the hips back, keep the knees bent, and find that lovely long spine, that melting heart today, without compromising the shoulders, so drawing the shoulders back away from the ears and really thinking wide across the top of the collarbones, heart coming down towards the floor. And then you're welcome to walk out the legs, or perhaps bend both knees nice and deeply, get the hips up to the sky and take the heels down to the floor together. Lovely. And then come back down to kneeling. Ready to come into a low lunge and crescent lunge. You can either do this from kneeling, or in other videos we've been working on us stepping forward from downward facing dog. So up to you. If you want to come from downward facing dog, then maybe You want to lift the right leg up behind you and think about how far you can push yourself away from the mat. Draw the knee forward and really lift the back up to get space underneath as you sweep that knee and foot forward into your lunge. You can do that from kneeling if you prefer, and indeed we're all going to drop the back knee down here and get that nice stable knee above the foot. Press down into the front foot and bring yourself upright. You're welcome to keep that back foot with the toes tucked under or straighten them out onto the floor. Bring the hands to the heart. If you're wobbly, heel toe that front foot out to the side a little, and you can choose to stay here or you can lift the hands up to the sky. So we're going to come into a little bit of a back bend. If you know that's not right for you, then please keep this spine nice and straight. Engage the tummy muscles. Okay, a little bit of squeeze of the glutes. Inhale, exhale, let the hips drop forward. So bringing your spine into more of an arch, keep the tummy tucked, and maybe today you take the hands to cactus pose, the arms to cactus pose. And you take the elbows back to open the heart, lifting the heart forward. Up to you whether the gaze is straight ahead or up at the sky. Nice big inhale to finish, maybe lifting those arms up again. Exhale, bring the hands down to the floor, either side of the front foot. Tuck the back toes under, step it back, downward dog, or come to kneeling. Think about how you're going to step that left foot forward. So maybe you lift the leg, maybe not. Maybe you bend both knees, get a little spring. And pushing off with the right foot, you step the left foot forward. Again, you can do that from kneeling. You can drop the knee straight down. We're all going to end up in a low lunge. Front knee over ankle, lifting up. So in stages, or you can sweep those arms up to the sky if you know that that's where you want to end up. Perhaps staying with the hands at the heart. Press down through that front foot to keep your balance, keep your connection with the earth, and then maybe lifting to the sky. Letting the heart open like that lotus blossom. Seeing if cactus arms helps that. So this could be a big back bend with the hips coming forward, the heart opening. Or it could be very much more upright. Let's all finish with an inhale and bring the hands down to the floor. Tuck the toes. This time, instead of stepping back, we're all going to step forward into a forward fold and bow down. Get those feet hip width apart for stability and spend a few breaths here. Letting the neck go. Head is heavy. Unless you know it's better to keep the head and the heart level, enjoy the feeling of the heart being above the head, leading for a change. Maybe the arms dangle or hold onto your shins or hold opposite elbows. And we can bend the knees. And as we exhale, straighten the knees, bowing down. Couple of times like that. Preparing to rise up, really rooting down through the feet, and inhale floats you up, hinging at the hips. You can bring the arms up above the head if that feels okay for you, and bring the hands down in front of the heart. And come to mountain pose. Palms forward, heart is open and lifted, shoulders rolled back and drawn down away from the ears. Feel the length in your body, the crown of the head reaching up, the feet rooting down. We're going to take a slow, mindful trip through our sun salutations today. Bringing the hands to the heart, come to the front of your mat. And if you want to, the beginning and end of your sun salutations can include a back bend in this first and last movement of reaching the hands up to the sky. So on the inhale, perhaps the knees bend and then straighten a little, the hips come forward and the back arches and you look up. On the exhale, you bring the hands down through the center, touching the earth, bowing down over your heart. Hips go up, head goes down if that's okay for you. Bowing into your forward fold, then release from it. And one more time, bowing down. Let the hands touch the floor. The right foot is going to take a big stride back into your lunge. Stay here for a moment and think about the heart lifting forward. Your choice. You can drop that back knee down to the floor if you prefer. And think about lifting through crown of the head and heart and pushing back either through that back heel or back knee. Really getting length in the body, powering up those thighs. Press into the hands, step it back, downward facing dog. Walk it out if you want to, or come to kneeling. Nice exhale. Let's bring both heels towards the floor and melt the heart down. Everybody come to kneeling for this first round. Inhaling, lifting the head, lifting the heart in your cow pose. And exhale, rounding the back slowly. Bring it back to child pose. Fingertips are reaching forward. Take a breath here. You breathe into the back of your body. Think about coming into cobra, either slithering along the floor, or maybe you prefer to rise up to all fours and drop the hips down and through. Take a breath here. You can do Sphinx pose if you prefer. Could be a baby cobra. You could be almost up in upward facing dog where the hips are off the ground. And then the exhale slowly takes the hips back. It rounds the back a little, reversing out of that back bend. You can stay in kneeling or tuck the toes and come all the way back to downward facing dog. Whichever option you've chosen, it's that step forward of the right foot next. So maybe you bend the knees, maybe you lift and sweep the right leg up behind you. Bring the knee and the foot through. See if you can land it gently on the floor with kindness, with compassion. If it didn't get there, it doesn't matter. Drop the knee, shuffle it forward. Or next move is we're going to step the left foot in. So you can always come together here. Bend the knees, decide whether you're going to roll up or hinge at the hips and float up with a flatter back, lifting the arms if that's okay. Maybe that little back bend today. And finish with an exhale, the hands coming down in front of the heart, connecting with the sternum, and take a breath there. Ready to do another round. Inhale, rising up, saluting the sun, maybe with a back bend. Exhale, folding slowly forwards, gentle on the spine. Take a breath here. Inhale, releasing from your forward fold. Ready on the exhale to take it deeper, lifting the hips, bowing the head. And then hands down to the ground. It's the left foot going to step back into your lunge and stay here for a breath. Drop the back knee or keep it upright. What is right for you today? Can you lift the heart? Brighten up this posture. Smile across the collarbones and on your face. Good. Opening, releasing the hips and the heart space. And then step it back, downward dog or kneeling. Your choice to come to cow pose next on all fours, or you can float forward to plank. If you're in plank pose, try and get yourself in a nice straight line. You can always drop down to kneeling. And then I'm going to give you the option to come into 8-point pose. This is where the knees, chest, and chin come to the ground. The elbows point back, not out to the side. And here we've got hands, knees, and feet on the floor. That's 6 points. Chest and chin makes 8. And then we all join together in Cobra. Lift the heart forward, opening up the front of the body, bursting open that lotus blossom, and then draw back slowly, tucking the toes if you're going to lift up into downward facing dog. Take a breath here in kneeling or down dog, thinking about the next move, bringing that left foot this time forward. Do you want to lift the foot up behind you perhaps? Look where it's going and then swing it forward. See where it gets. You might want to make an adjustment. And you're in your lunge again, ready to step forward with the right foot into a bow. So bowing down, nice and deep and slow. Press into the feet and inhale as you rise up. Maybe saluting today with a back bend and then bringing the hands back in front of the heart space, touching the thumbs to Anahata Chakra area. And then release. Release the hands down, come into Tadasana and breathe. Closing your eyes if that's okay for you. Maybe a soft gaze down at the floor. Don't lose that lift in the heart. Shoulders relax. Open to the heart energy. Okay. And as the breath and the heart rate settle, we're going to think about our balance for today. Choosing dancer's pose, but your expression of it. So dancer's pose is where we lift one foot up and we balance, taking that foot back. So it can be a deep back bend, and you can bow forwards or stay upright. You could have a hand on a wall or a chair, or you could lift it to the sky, perhaps forward, taking any mudra that comes to you. We're going to take it in stages, and you don't need to take a deep back bend to feel the opening of the heart space. So let's stand on our left foot to start with the left hand on any support that you might want nearby. Slowly taking your weight to the left foot, lift the right foot up. Maybe you catch hold of it, maybe you use a strap, maybe you point towards the foot. Get your balance here. Draw that right knee down towards the floor. Don't let it sway out. Don't let that hip lift. So perhaps you start to hinge forward at the hips. Perhaps you bow forward a little or a lot. If your balance is good, you might start to lift the left hand away from the support, perhaps taking it forward. And then your choice. You can kick back now. Kick that foot into your hand behind you. Open the heart and lift into your expression of dancer pose. Good. Feel the heart opening. Allow a smile. Rise up on the inhale and bring yourself back to standing on the exhale. And then let it go. However it was for you, accept, thank your body and let it go. And then transfer the weight into right foot. If you need to change props around, then please do. Pushing down now into the right foot, we're going to start to lift the left foot up. So draw the left knee down and back. Tuck in that tummy. Think about the tailbone staying lovely and long at this length in your spine before you even think about going anywhere. And then maybe you start the tilt, trying to keep the hips level to the floor. Don't let that left hip lift up. Perhaps you stay here, Or maybe you take the hand off of the support. The right hand and arm can come forward, perhaps opening out the fingers or taking chin mudra, deciding whether you're going to kick into that back hand to introduce more of a back bend, expressing yourself fully here, opening the heart space, and inhale up, exhale down. Take a moment to absorb your dancer pose and let it go. If you're anywhere but the mat, come back now onto the mat, and we're going to turn to the long edge. So take a nice wide stride. If you want to have a block handy, have it in front of you on that long edge of the mat. To start with, we'll take warrior two, turning the right toes to the front of the mat, adjust the back foot. Keep those hips as best you can towards the long edge of the mat. Inhale, lifting the arms up shoulder height, looking down that right arm. Exhale, bend the right knee and come into warrior two. And you might need to take the feet wider apart, or if they're uncomfortable, you might want to bring them closer together. And can you lift your warrior heart? So we're not leaning forwards and we're not compressing the spine. We've got that tummy tucked and the heart is open, looking down that front arm, feeling powerful. Turn the right palm upwards, and on an inhale, lift the right fingers to the sky as you drop the left fingers back onto the leg behind you. You can keep on looking up, reaching the fingers to the sky, or you could inhale and exhale, bring it down to the heart space. Breathe here, inhaling, exhaling. We're going to open it out now, come back to warrior two, and then transform it into triangle. So we're going to straighten the front leg on an inhale, dipping the hips back, come forward, 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 and down. Maybe you find a block, maybe you rest the hand lightly on the shin. Take that top hand to the hip and roll the shoulder back, spinning the heart towards the sky. If that feels comfortable, lift the top hand. If that feels awkward and the arm is twisted, keep it on the hip and work on that opening across the chest. Nice deep breaths here, extending all the limbs and the crown of the head away from the heart, opening up, shining your light. Inhale here, exhale, bend the knee, rise back up to warrior two. On an inhale, straighten the legs, turn the feet, point the toes to the side of the mat, and exhale the hands down. Step forward to the front of your mat and turn the other way. So turning to the right hand side of your mat, and nice wide stance again. So this time I'm going to turn the left toes to the front of the mat. Make sure you've got a block if that was useful to you. And get your stance right. So if you feel wobbly, heel toeing the foot out at the front. So you've got this nice stable stance, turning the hips to the wide edge, the long edge of your mat. Inhale, open the arms out, look down that left arm now. Exhale and come into your warrior two. Dropping the hips, but lifting the heart. So yogic warriors don't go into battle with anger and out of control. They are calm. And they do this with loving kindness. They fight the battles they need to fight. So choose your battles wisely. And we're going to turn that front palm up to the sky. Inhale, lifting the fingers up as we drop the back hand onto the back leg for reverse warrior. Taking a moment here to consider our actions with kindness, with compassion. Press into that back foot. Inhale, lifting the fingers to the sky. If you want to, on the exhale, bring the hand to the heart. Remind yourself this is where things should come from the heart space, Anahata. Inhale, open out to warrior two again. And then we're going to take triangle. Inhale and straighten the front leg. Exhale, reach forward, 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 then down. Bringing the hand gently to the shin, the floor, or finding a block. Little bend in that front knee. Press into the front of the foot to stop the leg going too far back into hyperextension. Roll the shoulder back, open up across the body, perhaps lifting the hand, perhaps that's not right for you today. And think about, can I shine my light out of the heart space, out into the world? Lovely, nice deep breaths here. And then bending that front knee, coming to warrior two, but instead of rising up, we're now going to windmill the hands around, bring them to the front of your mat, frame the front foot, turn the back toes, and step back into downward facing dog, where you can hang out for a few breaths, or directly come to kneeling, and then child pose. Melting the heart down, bringing the heart nearer to the floor. Taking some resting breaths here. And then pressing yourself upright, you can either come onto a chair, or we're going to do hero's pose next, and there's an option to sit up on blocks, to take the hips a little higher up off the ground. This might be kinder on the knees and ankles, or if you're comfortable to, you can sit with the hips between the ankles and the bum on the floor. So if you're going to sit on a chair, sit forward on the chair with the hands holding onto the back of it. If you're in a floor-based version of hero's pose, the idea is to keep those knees down on the ground. Don't let them ping up. So bring the hands behind you. Wherever you are, we're going to lift the heart. It's all about opening up the heart space, remember. Roll the shoulders back, elbows pointing back. If you want to, you can keep the head upright, or extending through the neck, you might choose to drop the head back. Okay, and if you're comfortable here on the floor, you might come down to forearms, but keep that lift in the heart. It's called hero's pose because we're opening up the vulnerable area of the heart space. Take some nice, deep, slow breaths here, seeing if you can be okay with this vulnerability. And when you're ready to come out, tuck the chin and let the heart lead you as you lift up. Release the feet if they're behind you, release those legs. And if you're on a chair or if you're on the floor, bow forward. Allow the back to round, again to counteract that back bend that we've done. And gently release from the posture like this. Then it's time to make our way down onto the floor. So easing yourself down to lying. Have your knees bent, and you might want to give them a hug. So taking your knees over the chest and hugging them in. I think it's important not to take yoga too seriously all the time. So next up is happy baby pose, where we keep the knees to the chest to start with, lift the feet to the ceiling, soles of the feet are going to push up as though they were holding the ceiling up above you, but with those knees still bent. And walk the hands up the shins. You might stay holding on to shins. You might be able to reach the ankles, or perhaps take the sides of the feet. Knees come out wider now, and you draw the knees into the armpits. So drawing the knees down to the floor. And like a happy baby, you're welcome to rock and roll, move your legs and feet around, and let a smile play across your lips. This is definitely a fun yoga pose, not to be taken too seriously, and reminding us the importance of smiling, the importance of kindness and fun. When you've had enough of that, hugging the knees in and letting the feet drop down to the floor. Take the right knee over the chest, and we're going to do a twist. So you might want to leave the left foot on the floor, or you might slide the left foot away so that the leg is straight. Lifting the left hand, take the palm across to the outside of your right knee, and the right hand can come out shoulder height onto the floor. Ready for the twist now. Keep those shoulder blades on the floor. Inhale here. As you exhale, guide the right knee gently, with kindness, with compassion, across the body, twisting the lower half of the body, keeping the upper half resting on the floor. And if the knee and the foot are floating now in midair, you might want to bend both the knees, stacking the knees together. You might want to shimmy the hips backwards, and that might enable the twist to be a little more comfortable. And you can choose to keep the nose gazing up at the sky, or turning to look towards your right hand. Maybe closing the eyes. Every exhale releases you deeper into this twist. Think about the heart shining upwards, and the rest of the body, the lower body, is rotated around away from it. Both hands might extend out in a T shape from the shoulders, or you might want to keep that left hand resting on the knee. Last deep breath here. On an inhale, let the feet find the floor, lift the knees to the sky, and shimmy the shoulders and hips back into one line. And then taking the left knee over the chest, hug that in. Choose whether you're going to leave that right foot on the floor or slide it away, straightening out the right leg. It's the right hand going to guide the left knee across now, taking the left hand out to the side, gluing the shoulders to the floor as best you can as you come into the twist. Maybe the head stays pointed up at the sky. Maybe it turns towards the left hand. Perhaps you need to adjust where the hips are, or stack the knees on top of each other. Welcoming the twist, with every exhale releasing tension. Think about that lotus blossom at the heart, and imagine it slowly opening, unfurling the petals. We don't want to be forcing our twists. They need to be allowed to occur in the body. Finish here with a nice deep breath. And gently roll onto your back, bending the knees, perhaps hugging them over your chest, and deciding whether you want to come into constructive rest pose, feet on the floor, knees resting together, or Whether you'd like to straighten the legs out in Shavasana, our corpse pose, toes drop away from each other, and the palms might face up to the sky, or today you might choose to bring one palm, then the other over the heart center. Let your eyes close. Let the body soften. And breathe deeply into the heart space. And breathing like this is known as Hridaya Pranayama, heart breathing, transforming energy, sending it out as love. And yoga poses help release stresses and tension from the body that we sometimes keep bound up. And sometimes when we do these heart-centered practices, it can bring up emotions that perhaps have been suppressed or held in the body for years. So please don't worry if you sometimes feel emotional in a yoga class or after a yoga class. It's something that needs to come out, that you need to breathe through and perhaps let go of. So you can choose now to stay lying in a supine position or gently rolling onto your side and pressing yourself up to sitting. I want you to feel your heart softening. Allow a feeling of friendship and kindness radiate out from it. And we're going to take a Buddhist meditation, Metta Bhavana, which means a loving kindness feeling. So being comfortable, if you want to keep the hands over the heart or if you want to relax them onto your knees or down by your sides, absolutely fine. Now, our relationship with ourselves really sets the tone for every other relationship we have with others and those around us. How we treat ourselves teaches us how to treat others. So we have to begin with ourselves. We're going to send loving kindness out to other people by repeating the messages that I say silently to yourself, starting with to yourself. So breathing in slowly and gently, repeating silently to yourself, may I be safe and free from harm. May I be happy and healthy. May I be peaceful and full of loving kindness. Observe whether you found this tricky or difficult, and think of how a loved one, or perhaps even a beloved pet, would unconditionally send these loving thoughts to you. Try and get that feeling for yourself as you breathe in and out of the heart. And then call to mind somebody who is dear to you. Could be a relation, a friend, maybe that beloved pet or animal in your life. Holding them gently and tenderly in your thoughts. We're going to send loving kindness out to them. Repeating silently to yourself, may they be safe and free from harm. May they be happy and healthy. May they be peaceful and filled with loving kindness. letting each thought drop like dropping pebbles down a well and listening for the response. I want you to keep hold of this loving compassion, and we're going to bring to mind somebody who you find it perhaps more difficult to get on with, whether this is someone you know or somebody remote from you that you wouldn't choose to be friendly with. Let this feeling of loving kindness settle around your heart, and remember that everybody has the same hopes and dreams, worries and fears, feelings of sadness and loneliness that we all do from time to time, remembering that we all wish to be loved. Sending these thoughts out to them. May they be safe and free from harm. May they be happy and healthy. May they be peaceful and filled with loving kindness. And then we're going to send these same wishes out to all beings. People who are dear to you, strangers, perhaps people you've never met in your life, never will meet. Include those who we find more difficult and challenging, perhaps press our buttons. And also remember to include yourself in this. Let's send out loving kindness to everyone around the world, all beings, so animals, plants. Send it to the planet Earth, repeating to yourself, may all be safe and free from harm. May all be happy and healthy. May all be peaceful and filled with loving kindness. Take a lovely deep breath into the heart and sigh out the exhales. One more time. And I'd like to finish by reading you a translation from the Radiance Sutras called A Place in the Heart. The one who is at play everywhere said, "There is a place in the heart where everything meets. Go there if you want to find me. Mind, senses, soul, eternity, all are there. Are you there? Enter the welcoming vastness of the heart. Give yourself to it with total abandon. Quiet ecstasy is there, and a steady, regal sense of resting in a perfect spot. Once you know the way, the nature of attention will call you to return again and again and be saturated with knowing, I belong here. I am at home here. answer that call. So if you're still lying on the floor, I want you to slowly roll onto your side, starting to make small movements with fingers, perhaps moving the shoulders and the head, coming slowly up to sitting, and bringing your hands to the heart space. Take a lovely deep breath in here. And as you exhale, bow over your heart. Exhaling out love. May you live with peace in your heart and love for yourself and everything around you. Namaste.